Thanks everybody for joining us. Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Chris Lansall. I'm the director of content here at Luxury Presence, and I am so excited to bring you another edition of our Luxury Presence panels webinar discussions with some of the absolute leaders in residential real estate. And today we have they broke the mold when they made you. One of one, Miss Dawn McKenna, joining us to talk about how she built a brand that helped build her business. Dawn, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. It's so fun to see. I like how you guys do this where I can see the participants. I mean, I can't see, but I can see like Ocala, Florida. There's so many different places. Boca Raton. I saw the Hamptons. This is super exciting. And I hope that if I could just give you one nugget of what I did, you can take it and run with it. High tide rises all boats. So I'm incredibly honored and grateful to be here. And I am an open book. I just want you guys to know this. No matter what happens, you can call me. You just Google me. My cell phone's there, or DM me on Instagram at the Dawn McKenna Group. I will share my listing presentation. I will share everything with you. I just go with it.
Amazing. Dawn, I am so happy to hear you say that because we currently have right in the neighborhood of 850 of our closest friends joining us here. There's going to be a lot of folks who have questions, and we love questions. If you want to float a question our way during the program, I encourage you to use the Q&A function here on Zoom because there's so many of us, it's going to be hard to keep up in the chat. So use that Q&A function. We have some time for questions at the end of the program, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. Now, Dawn and I are not the only ones here. We also have the amazing Laura McDonald here from Luxury Presence. Laura is going to be with us to help share a little bit about how Luxury Presence can help you if you have questions around building a business and taking the same sort of path that Dawn has taken. Laura, you want to say hello to everybody?
Hi, everyone. My name is Laura. I'm so excited to hear all of your questions and be a part of this, and also to listen to the amazing Dawn McKenna share her story and her business. She's the best. Really excited to present some stuff to you guys at the end. Hi, Pat Palumbo. I see some of my clients are here. That's the best. And I know that you guys are saying where you're from. I live in northern Lake Tahoe in Incline Village. So if I have any Northern California, Northern Nevada people here, say hello. Thanks so much for having me.
Amazing. Dawn, we have a short period of time, relatively speaking, together, so we gotta bust right into this.
Okay.
We had literally thousands of people who signed up to either attend today or get the recording afterward, and the overwhelming response on why did you sign up for this is we want to hear the story. We want to know how Dawn started with just an idea to get into real estate and has grown to the heights that we have. So can we start with your origin story? I like to call this the accidental brand intentional growth era of your life. Take us back to the beginning, before you were one of the top agents in the country.
Okay.
How did the idea of real estate and your brand take shape?
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I am just going to do the uncut version here because usually I'm
Please.
like telling my story, but I don't have like a yin to my yang with you. So this is actually like awesome. So you might have like the gong to like stop me or like, shh.
Oh,
Um,
I'll get the
you're going to
hook if I
gong
need
me?
to.
Okay. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Dawn McKenna. I just want to say that if you get nothing else from this, just know like it's never too late. Like with Mel Robbins and all these like motivational speakers out there, like you're like, oh, I don't lift weights, but should I just walk for 2 miles? It's never too late. So you could do this. I mean, some of the greatest brands like Kentucky Fried Chicken, Home Depot, McDonald's, like they weren't started till these founders and futuristic people started in their late 40s, early 50s, some at 60. So I'm just saying, like, go for it. That's the thing, just do it. So here's what happened. I married my high school sweetheart. I celebrate Sunday 33 years of marriage with him. And I have 4 kids that range from 24 to 31. I say this because I couldn't have done this without them, and I couldn't have done it without team members. And you'll learn more about what I did to build this brand and to build this team. But you cannot do this by your own. Write that down. You have to delegate. You have to learn to trust. You have to do that, like, let them kind of mentality. You need to do that. I did it early in my career. So what happened was, my mom was like very interested in fashion and design and makeup and houses, and for fun, when I was younger, we'd go and dream. And on Sundays, we'd go get McDonald's, and then we'd go through all these open houses. I know you hate us. We hate these people, but hey, look what can happen. So we would go and dream and then go back to our house and kind of reimagine our house. So I had that gift from my mom. And I used to think you either have it or you don't, but I think these things can be learned. There's so many different personalities and so many skill sets that can be used to pull different levers for different people and become incredible salespeople. So if you don't know it, you can learn it. It was a little innate with me. I was the type of person that when my kids were little, I'd be like, you guys, I'm at TJ Maxx and they have Manolo Blahniks for $39.99. You got to get here. I'm just like an oversharer. That's just me. So what happened was, um, we had moved to this house, and my husband's a lawyer, so his income is, more, consistent. It doesn't have the deep dives that are peaks and valleys, chutes and ladders, like salespeople. So we moved into this house, and I was an interior decorator. I wasn't ASID, approved. I had a great eye, and I wasn't afraid to take risks. So part of my contribution to our family income was I would decorate for friends, or decorate. Someone would say, can you do Billy's room? Can you help me with my kitchen? I would do it. I'm telling you, it wasn't such a great contribution. I probably, made enough in a year after my babysitting to, get a handbag. But I learned a lot of what sends people. I listened a lot. It was like such a great kind of like skill moment for me to acquire this to become what I became. So we bought a lot of houses, and I flipped them. So I had like a community where I raised my kids. It's called Hinsdale. There's only 18,000 people. And my kids were 8, 6, 4, and 2 at the time. And we bought this house, and my husband, I was really into Holly Hunt and really great design. The Merchandise Mart in Chicago was like my muse, and I would go there and dream. And things were expensive, and I got really into Rose Tarlow and like big brands. And I wanted to buy this $23,000 couch, which is absurd. I wouldn't even spend $23,000 on a couch right now. Well, we'll get that. I have this like thing about couches, but we'll get into that. So my husband was like, slow your roll. We cannot afford this, and we can't do this whole house at one time, like one room at a time, and it's going to be like gentle. Isn't there something at Home Goods you could buy? And I was like, and he was the one to say, you love real estate, you share, you love like telling people about, oh my God, you have to see this house. And I was doing this before I was even making any money. I'll get back to that agent in a minute. But so I would send a ton of business to this agent. I didn't even know that, like, if you got your license, you could get a referral. This was just really authentic. I loved like the matching game of saying, oh my God, Julie, there's a house across the street from you. I know you want to downsize. I just saw it. It's so cool. So fast forward, my husband said, why don't you just get your license? And if you sell $1 million house, you get the 25,000 bucks, buy your $23,000 couch. And I did it. And so, I mean, my kids had like a Spider-Man party for me when I, got my license, because I did this whole thing in 5 days. Like back then, I don't know if you can still do that, but I like was in my pajamas studying, counting them on my fingers, worried sick that I wasn't going to pass this test. I hadn't been tested in years. I was in mom mode. And so I took my test on Monday, got my license on Friday. And this is super interesting. This is another takeaway. Always try your best to meet everybody that reaches out to you, because I had this agent that I gave a ton of business to. And she's still in business, and we have a good relationship, but I think she made a crucial mistake, and maybe you'll agree or disagree, but I called her, and can I swear on this? This is, well, whatever.
Yes.
I'll just tell you what I said. I called her up when I got my license, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I said, hey, so-and-so, I'll be your bitch. I'll turn your lights on for you. Like, I just got my license. I'm super excited. And like, I really think like I could bring people to the table because I was doing it anyway for myself and for other people. And I will never forget this. She said, lots of luck to you.
Mm.
Quote unquote, lots of luck to you. Good luck. Lots of luck to you. I don't know what you're going to do with all those kids. Okay. The next Sunday, my kids went to this local Catholic school in town right across the street from my house, and I was at mass. And somebody from CB, she was a really nice woman. I did not know her. She came up to me and said, hey, I heard you're a friend of somebody's. I heard you got your license. You are going to be dynamite. I'm
Mm.
telling you right now, I see you at the baseball games, like you're, throwing people in your car, going to open houses to wait for the rain delay. And I did do that. And she said, you should come to Coldwell Banker. And to be honest with you, I was like, Caldwell Banker, I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble with this, but I'm like, don't they wear name tags? Like, it's just not like yeah, I thought the boutique firms were all the rage. My husband had said to me, this was in 2003, guys. By the way, I wanted to buy a couch. I didn't want a career. I was happy to be a wife and a mom and do my own thing and make a little money on the side. Like, it was a side hustle approach. I didn't even have a babysitter, to be really honest. And so she's like, you should come to Coldwell Banker. And he said, people in downturns and upturns, really all they want is exposure. And I was like, oh,
Mm.
okay. So I went with 4 kids to Coldwell Banker. I look like a complete idiot. And I was like, listen, I just want to buy a couch. So like, how much is it to get my license and hang it here? Like, how does this work? Well, what happened was the very next day, I got a call from an acquaintance in town that I didn't know that well. And she was going through a very personal problem, a very, very, very hard time. And she said, I know you don't know what you don't know, but I would like you at my front door. I would like you to come over and kind of help me get this house in shape. I like your eye. I didn't know her that well, but we would wave to each other or see each other at something. And she said, and I really need someone that I can trust right now
Mm.
that's going to be discreet and do the right thing. I really feel exposed. Well, that house was the most expensive house in my town at the time. And it was the darling of my town. And everybody would drive by and the lights and the chandeliers, and she had all these red geraniums all over. It was like a father of the bride house. So what I did was there was a woman in the office. This was 48 hours after I signed up at Coldwell Banker. I want you guys to know this, okay? I had my kids, remember? And I saw this woman there, and she was in her 60s, and she was sort of upset, and she'd been upset because someone was yelling at her. I don't know what the heck the problem was, but I was like, listen, do you know how to do you know how to sign a contract? Do you know how to put pictures into the MLS? I mean, I sound like a nitwit, but I had no idea. And she's
Mm.
like, listen, I have no interest in being on a marquee. I have no interest in selling. I just can't make more than my Medicare. Otherwise, that will screw me up. But I would love to help you. I'm like, no kidding. So when I tell you guys something, I don't own a computer. The computer I'm on right now is my assistant's. I have no idea. I'm scared to even make a move. Um, I delegated early. I stuck to what I was good at. I knew that I can connect with people and I can really tell a story and make things look better than the next guys in kind of intriguing ways. And I'll get to that. But I think that what I did was I trusted right away. I said, if you know how to do this, this would be great. So I'm going to be honest with you. I've never signed a contract. I've never uploaded pictures to the MLS. I've never put things in the MLS. I've never done any of that. I know how to connect to people. That's it. So anyway, I hope that's a good start for you.
So, but okay, so let me press the pause button and ask you a follow-up question here. Listening to your origin story, it sounds so clear to me, and I'd love feel free to fill us in on the chat if you have different ideas about this, folks. But it sounds really clear to me that early on, even before you had made a conscious decision about this, your brand as Dawn McKenna, less than 24 hours in the real estate business, your brand was about your ability to connect. Your brand was about not just your ability, but your commitment to the people that you are connected to. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
100%. I mean, I remember, I'm sitting here with my assistant, and I remember playing bunco, like, to get out of the house. And I would be like, oh my God, did you guys see 223 Hickory? That is the sickest house. Did you see that pool? I mean, it's so cool. And they're like, what is your problem? I mean, I was in a $235,000 house when I started, okay, at 1993 with my little Jack, who was 3 months old. And you know, we were in a very uh, affluent neighborhood, and I probably had the least expensive house in the whole town. I just loved real estate. So like my friends would be like, get over here. Like I didn't know there were 500 different whites you could use.
Mm,
Which I'm like, don't do that. That's too yellow. That's comes off pink. That's green. Do this. Like for no money. So I think I was like super committed to like making people feel better and being a part of the journey. Because if you think about it, like for me, I'm gonna get a little deep here on you, but like when I was younger, we didn't have a house. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment with my mom above a bar. And so when we would dream, oh my God, I'm gonna get emotional. um, we would look like, and we would be like, oh my God, I wonder what it's like to live there. And I think that I don't forget that.
mm,
Sorry. Wow. Um, and I think that's what keeps me coming back to this job is because I do think like we are such an integral part of making people feel better having met us or having been there than before they came. If that
mm.
makes sense.
Dawn, I want to know then about the when the switch flipped, because there had to have been a moment when you realized that your business could extend beyond your own hours. You're in the early days, your business is, it's fenced by the things that you personally can touch and by the hours in your day. And to kind of illustrate this, I mean, you didn't even have a website until 2016.
You
So,
guys, when I think about this, you guys are going to get off the phone and be like, if she can do it, I can do it. I I remember, so just to give you a little glimpse, that one acquaintance that gave me my first start. And then I had another start by someone that's like my biggest builder now. And I think we kind of fed off her and she trusted me. So in 2 weeks, I had $8-9 million in listings. And by the way, I was on both sides of those deals.
mm,
So right away, that was dual agency. I mean, I have a lawyer as a husband that I know what I can and can't do. So that worked out. But like within 30 days of real estate, I had sold like $30 million, you guys.
mm,
So it just went crazy. I want to get back to what you're saying, but I don't want to forget to tell you something. I think our industry is cheap. I think I understand why, because when you're selling, you eat what you kill. So you're like afraid to spend too much because you're like, oh my God, I just made 20 grand and now I don't want to spend 10 grand when I just made 20 grand. I feel like what I did was I spent a bunch of money that I probably shouldn't have and I didn't have, but I wanted it to be great for the client. So I did a lot of things and we could get into it later because I want to get back to your question, but like I was the first one to do video. I was the first one
mm,
to do a full page ad and not just like the outside of the house. Like the house I'm telling you about, I did the inside and I put in our local newspaper at the top, um, guess whose house is coming on?
mm,
Call me to my cell phone for an opportunity to sip and see this. And I had like a block long line.
mm,
So I went ham, and that means hard as a mother. By the way, I got that from my kids. Um, when I first started, like, but not because of me. I
mm,
already knew I was going to make the $25,000, you guys. I don't want to sound like a martyr here, but like I did it for this person that was going to have to count on every dollar she got from this amazing home. And I thought, oh my God, this is like fair and equitable. Like if I blow this up, everybody will see what I'm doing and maybe they'll hire me to do it. And I got such a charge off that. But anyway,
mm.
okay, back to you. Your question was, sorry, I'm like
It's
going wrong
okay.
here. I
It's
told you I
okay.
would go wrong. I don't want to go wrong. Um,
I was thinking about it in your story even illustrates it about the moment where where you realized that there was more opportunity for your business beyond the hours in your day, beyond the reach of your hands, and illustrated by the fact that so much of your early value was from you directly, your hands-on time, your eye-to-eye time with people. But it couldn't stay like that forever. And that's where the brand, the DMG brand, was really born, such that you can scale off of that. So I'd like to know a little bit about that moment when the switch flipped, when you realized, you know what, this is more than just me being in people's houses. This is a brand. This is a business. Uh,
2016, 2016,
Tell me about
100,
that.
100%. And I'm not, you guys, I don't get paid to do this. I'm not getting paid from Luxury Presence to say anything, but this is the darn truth. So 2003, I start, right? And I have two assistants that work for me that basically, oh my God, I mean, they were like 15 steps ahead of me. Lillian and Anne were amazing. I mean, and so we were doing probably 175 to 200 million a year, just as me as the face of the brand with the two assistants that were kind of doing the body of the background work. And in 2016, I got to give a shout out for Jade Mills. If you don't know Jade Mills, get to know Jade Mills, because she was a pioneer. She's an incredible leader. I just love her. She's an incredible friend. So she freaking calls me on the phone in 2016. I don't have a website in 2016. It's just me and a 75-year-old assistant, and then an assistant that's about my age. So what was that, 48 years old or 45? I don't even know what I was. I'm 56 now, so do the math. And she tells me that she has invested in this kid, Multi Kramer. He's going to change the way luxury real estate is. And if anybody knows luxury, it's Jade Mills. I mean, come on, I'm sitting with her at lunch, and, I'm getting a call from, Joe Blow, and she's getting a call from like Shaquille O'Neal or like Brad Pitt. I'm like, Brad Pitt's calling on your phone. I mean, what? Anyway, so she calls me and says, listen, there's a real void in like the luxury space on how to present a property. And so we invested in this kid. He's a basketball player from Pepperdine, and he's at Stanford. You should do a website. I see you didn't do a website. I didn't either. Do you want to do a website? I'm like, yeah, fine. I'll talk to him. Send him over. So she sends him from Chicago. I will never forget this. And if he's tuned in, he's going to be like, yep, that happened. Okay. So this handsome guy comes in. He's like young punk kid, right? I bring my husband because I don't know what I don't know about technology at the time. This is 2016. Okay. My husband has, developed the first nationwide tea time reservation system. I was like, what's the Ethernet? Like he knew. So I was like, can you come in here? Because this kid's coming in here for a website. Okay, fine. So he says to me, we're gonna do this, and your properties are gonna be beautiful, and la 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 la. And I'm like, whoa, I don't think I want to work for someone that I don't know. Now, remember, my town is small. It's 18,000 people. My kids were very, involved in every sport known to man. I was in all these different people's houses designing and getting them rugs and picking out their paint colors. So I felt like I knew everybody, to be honest. And so I didn't like the thought of like some rando is going to call me on the phone. I'm going to meet him at a house. I don't know if this is for me. And he was like, mic drop. I mean, he was like, are you an idiot? Like, what are you talking about? And he had no preparation. You know how you do role playing, like if they say this, then I'm going to say this, whatever. He was just like, I don't even know what to say to that. And I'm like, but you know what? I like where you're going, and Jade is going to do it. So I'm going to do it. But here's the one thing. I really love like a nudie pink. I wear a lot of nudie pink, not Barbie pink. I'm talking like calamine lotion pink, like really
Mm.
well done. There's a beautiful color, guys. Go look at it. It's Portola. It's called Prayer. It's just a beautiful color, and I wear it a lot. So I was like, can you do like some form of pink? And he was like, that doesn't translate well on online, like digitally. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you, but That's what I want because I don't want anybody else to have it. It's my thing. And so the truth is, sorry for you men out there, don't get mad at me, but my biggest competitors are men, right? So how else to stand out? The pink. Most men
Well,
will do the
and
pink.
this pink has actually become a a cornerstone of the DMG brand. And I want to talk really quick about how the DMG brand has developed because today's, webinar is all about understanding the correlation and the parallel between the building of brand and the building of business. I've heard you say that DMG we could categorize it as like if Dior and Goldman Sachs had a baby. That's a pretty unforgettable description. How did you land on that identity?
I'm so glad you remembered that because I always say that and people are like, what? Um, Remember the fashion. I think that the brand of Dior is amazing and they teach us everything. So does Hermes, so does Rolex. If you think about it, they didn't just sit on their laurels. They had brand identification and then they evolved. YSL evolved. Like they changed their brand, they changed their logo. Like remember you guys, like your brand is like a vessel, but it's like what you fill it with that is meaningful. So for me, as I grew and as I scaled, I mean, we'll find you a $500 apartment or we'll sell you a $300 million house. Like we have everything. We have a rental team and we have, 21-year-olds on the team to 60 and everything in between. And so what I wanted was aspiration. I wanted like a beautiful looking brand because I feel like if you can brand yourself, what can you do for all your listings? It's just a reflection of you. The other thing is, as I grew, I had to learn how to financial model. I had to learn the finance talk. My kids helped me a ton with that. My team helps me a ton with that. And we have a lot of advisors that help me with this. But this is the single most expensive piece that anybody will ever buy. You guys, real estate is an asset class. Art is an asset class. Stocks are an asset class. Like we have to start teaching people again and again and again, and especially the millennials, like, hey, real estate has outperformed over time. Why is that? So I think that you have to, if you don't know anything about finance, anything about financial modeling, a market, stats, data, metrics are everything right now. So that's why I said to you, if Dior and Goldman Sachs had a baby, it would be DMG, because what I want people to know is when they get us, we are going to cast that wide net, have the biggest network, know what we're talking about, give you good advice, even if it means we don't make any money. And oh, by the way, you will be tickled pink when you see
Oh,
your house. That was so good. I'm terrible at puns, you guys, but that was a good one.
that was a good
But
one.
you will. Like every time I saw my houses, I was like, oh, that kind of looks haunted. Oh, I don't like that they did it. The north side of the house is so dark. Like I want it should be a drum roll when we're like, oh, our editorial photographer was there, our real estate photographer was there, our creative contenter was there. I mean, down to like, you guys, people are micromanaging my team about like, oh, is Caitlin wearing the peach dress because we have a peach door? Whatever. Like, it is so expensive. This is whether it's $100,000 or 25 million. It's the biggest thing these people own. We should care and make it look the best it can. So that's where
Mhm.
that came in. There's
That's
the
that,
science and the art.
I love that. I love that. And I also love how you have managed to take that marriage of science and art and then use technology to become a brand multiplier. I know from your origin story how important it was. I mean, you told us the story about meeting, and I'm quoting this. I'm going to tell Malty that you called him a young punk kid because I'm
Young
not
punk.
allowed to call him that. But if you call him that, then I can at least
I'm old. I can say it.
well, the story of you wanting, feeling hesitant about working with people that you don't know, um, is really an indicator of where your brand started. And it's just such an interesting transition because now technology is such a multiplier for you. You've got one of the highest performing real estate websites in North America. You have content, you have digital ads, you even have your own app. Was there a moment when you realized that technology wasn't just a nice to have, but it was critical to your scaling as well?
Yes. So you guys, I built this. I have 39 team members, 28 agents across 7 different states. So remember, we're in downtown Chicago, the North Shore of Chicago, the Western Burbs, so that's city suburbs. Then we're in the lake towns of Lake Geneva and Harbor Country. That's where the Chicagoans go for their beach is in their lake towns. Then we have Naples, Florida, and then we have Park City, Utah. So remember, like everybody's different, and some are primary markets where that's a need, and some are wants. That's a very different scale factor and experience. You know, how will this look for me no matter what, on a day-to-day or on a, 6 months in a day? I remember when I said I wasn't sure I wanted to work with people I don't know. That didn't mean multi-Kramer and luxury presence. That meant like randos that are
Mhm.
coming onto my website that I don't know. Do I want to meet them? So that was 2016. A freaking coconut dropped on my head then, and I went with this young punk, and he created this website for me. And what I didn't tell you was I am not like a branding queen. I'm an English major from U of I. I didn't go to Harvard. I'm not like some master, I started at Procter and Gamble and I'm like the greatest guru of marketing. I know what I like and I know what I don't. And so I said, I want this to be different. I want people to know that we care about all the little details. People say, oh my God, don't sweat the small stuff. Oh my God, totally sweat the small stuff. You guys, I'm having a party tonight at the $300 million listing at 6:30 to 8:30. I have 402 people coming and very strategic. I was a part of, like, I trusted my director of marketing and all my people, but they are throwing this in front of me. Do you like the font? Yes, but I don't like that shade of pink. Okay, I'm not doing it all, but I am still a part of this. It's important. You can't just like, there's a balance in whether you delegate, which I've done, people that are smart, as smart or if not smarter than me at what they do. But you do have to be a part of the fabric when you're scaling. You can't just expect all these people to do it the way you want to do it if you're not involved. So I just want you to know that.
Yeah.
But okay, wait, what did you ask me? I didn't answer that. You asked me what
You
you think
actually
that
did.
means.
You answered part of it, and I'll follow up again. Your it's so interesting to see your brand's growth and as you've integrated technology
Yes.
into that brand's growth, because I think a lot of professionals, I would venture to bet a lot of the folks who are on the call today are hesitant about scaling their use of technology because they're worried that their brand won't be consistent, and their potency will be diluted. But you've managed to take your website and ads and content and now your mobile app. You've really been able to lean into your brand potency using this technology.
Thanks for the comeback. I think that what I realized, okay, is all of my team members needed assistance. And you guys, you cannot do more than 25 million in transactions by yourself. I don't care what anybody says, and they all say, oh, it's only this person, it's only that person, it's only me. That's a lie. You're not doing a great job or a great service for your client if you're alone. I'm just telling you that it's a fact. I believe that in life. Find someone to share life with and run with it. You'll be 50,000 times better. So what happened was, as my team members started getting busier and busier, remember, some of my team members were 25, 24 years old. They're, doing 30, 40, 50 million a year. And I realized that we didn't have a great way to communicate with each other. And we didn't have our like stats at our fingertip. Remember the Goldman Sachs model? These players needed to know everything that was going on. Boom, what's the price per square foot? Boom, what's the average price here? What's the highest price? What was the lowest price? How long was that on the market? How did that compare to last year? How did that compare to COVID? How does it compare to 2019? What was the interest rate then? Market metrics. How many of you have gone up? It's happened to me where my assistant prepared me for a listing presentation the night before, and I'm walking up and there's a freaking for sale sign in the neighbor's yard and it's not on the market yet. And you're like, whoa, how much is that? How much is that house? I don't know. They're going to ask me what it is. Or we have a hovering on the Copilot where all the houses that are even on the private network come up. Like it's literally a Copilot. You cannot fly a plane alone. I think it's irresponsible, I think.
Mm.
So you've got this thing, and what we're doing is saying, hey, hang on, we developed this technology, and let us show you how much that is. So you don't feel like confidence is everything. And if you don't know, knowledge is power. And if you don't know it, you're gonna look like a fool and
Mm.
they're not gonna pick you.
It's amazing to hear you say that the technology itself has become, I mean, it's practically irresponsible to operate at a certain level without without a certain layer of technology supporting your business. I mean, that's a really powerful statement, especially coming from somebody whose bread and butter is pressing the flesh, the eye to eye contact that you have with people.
I just think it's another extension. And you guys, if you're not using ChatGPT, if you're not like evolving, that's what I was trying to say. Like even the biggest brands, heritage brands like Hermes, like you guys, they have a focus on scarcity. Like there's all kinds of different ways you can evolve. But if you're not like leaning into technology, you're screwed. And the funny thing is I did a little focus group with some of my friends, the Jills and Ricardo in Boston. I did it with Ryan Gorman, who was our recent CEO. And I said, this is what I came up with. Now, my husband was like, you have so much data, like you could like revolutionize how real estate is done. And so I was thinking small just for my team as a competitive advantage. And then when I saw what we created, I was like, oh my God, this could help everybody. And again, high tide rises all boats. I want everybody doing this so that we can kind of, I think our industry, I heard it just yesterday, like people don't have a lot of faith in realtors. They don't see us like they do their Goldman Sachs investment banker or their Goldman Sachs wealth manager. That's our fault because our industry, they could just go to Zillow and be like, oh, what's this? You don't want that. You need to give them the science, but you need to fill in all the art categories where they feel like if they don't use you, they're making a mistake or they're missing something.
Mm.
This was part of the competitive advantage for that. And so I showed it to them. And the minute I showed it to Malty, he was like, girl, this is amazing. And then of course, let me just be honest with you, it looks completely different than what I first did because Multi has like, guys, from and women from MIT and, some of the most unbelievable places in the world working and perfecting and hearing from all of you. I'm just one little facet of this big diamond. So I think that if you're scared, don't be. Even with like Instagram and digital, you guys, I had no idea. I just got the stat. 40,000 visitors a month come to the Dawn McKenna group. Okay. This is from 2017. Because remember, 2016 was when Multi first talked to me. By the time we did all that stuff, it was 2017. And then I kind of felt like I had a secret sauce, and all these kids were coming and saying, oh, Miss McKenna, I know your daughter. I'd love to be a realtor, blah, blah, blah. And then we just killed it. But part of it is our whole brand. I don't even know if you guys know this at Luxury Presence, but the pink was so good. I was like, oh my God. That's when like I started getting into Instagram too, you guys. I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want it to show everybody what I'm doing. And now I'm like, take that picture. Because I know how powerful it is. It sells and it helps you build your brand. It's like a force multiplier, but
Mhm.
it helps consistency. So if you're lost in space on like what to do, go off your website and then kind of peel back the layers, and it just kind of all comes together and it's consistent.
So let's I want to we're going to take a pause in just a minute to talk a little bit about um the options that agents have, agents, brokers, anyone who's attending this presentation, what options you have if you feel like you're struggling with brand development with the use of technology. But before we get there, I want to ask you one more question, Dawn, and this is it's kind of a tough one. All right. So we want your real talk, unvarnished, your honest opinion here. Okay. The challenge right now in real estate, there's a lot of disruption happening. There's a lot of folks who feel uncertain about the future of this industry. Ironically, most of the top producers that we talk to feel like while there is disruption, one thing is very certain that real estate is going to be a continued opportunity for growth because people need a place to live. Doesn't matter what's going on in the industry, people are still going to buy, people are still going to sell all the way up and down the market. So, for agents who are struggling with the idea of making investments in their brand, investments in technology, what advice would you have for them right now?
I'm telling you, this is a great little kind of ratio that my husband gave me. He's in telecom, so it's like very different than what I do. But he was like, you should be spending 20% of your income and putting it back into marketing your brand
Mm,
because your brand is everything and that's how it will scale. And I think I'm even telling my own agents this. Yes, they're on my team. And yes, I'm the face of the brand and I have a huge marketing team and I'm spending, I spent 38% of what the company made on reinvesting back into marketing. That'll just tell
mm,
you that. And so think about this for a minute. Talk about a force multiplier. If your principal is doing that and you're on a team, and then each team member is doing at least 20% of their own money, like that's what feeds the beast, you guys. Like you don't want to be a one-hit wonder. Like I don't want that. Like my why is to be a significant household name, and people know that when they come to us, they trust us. We have passion, we're enthusiastic about it, and we're constantly trying new things. We don't always get it right. You got to own it. But at the end of the day, I think if you're not spending on yourself, I don't think you're worthy because
mm,
I think you go to these people and half these agents just throw it on the market and wait for the rest of them to come. There's like no strategy behind it. And I think we're always afraid to spend the money. You're gonna skin your knee. Some things are gonna be worth it and some aren't. I mean, here, this will tell you, I never did Zillow leads, okay? So I did when I started Naples at the first year, I spent $13,680. And I remember that because it was so irritating because all we got on that was a manufactured home.
mm,
No offense to manufactured homes, but that's not our world. We don't know anything about it. And it was $18,000. Okay.
mm,
So it hardly was worth the ROI was terrible. So that's kind of what taught me, like, wait a second here. There's all kinds of places. Do print because nobody else is doing it because it's too expensive. Do all the digital. You guys do all my SEM, all my SEO. We have a whole new thing for all of you out there. We just launched DMG development. We have a head of development and inside sales, and we have 5 new developments coming on. And each website for each brand is being kind of formulated by Luxury Presence. So remember, it's still consistent with my brand. Okay. But each one has its different personality. These
mm,
things are expensive, but oh my God, like the lead generation is bananas. Think about this. I didn't have a website in 2016. I didn't have it till 2017. I didn't create the brand and scale the brand. And it didn't really come where it was like really popping off, if you will, until like 2021.
mm,
40,000 people are coming to the website. We have 10 to 15 inquiries a day. We had at the beginning 10 to 15 inquiries a week. So when they're engaging, then you can engage. Like I'm not trying to like say like Luxury Presence is the only option. For me, the one-stop shop was awesome, but people are like, well, how did she grow? Well, at the end of the day, like I was just a single agent. Then I popped off, but having that website, having that kind of digital relationship and exposure helped me in ways that I can't even tell you. Instagram, you guys, I thought Instagram was the dumbest thing in the world. My kids were doing Instagram. My daughter like did my Instagram. I'm like, I think this is so dumb. If there's nothing else you do, do Instagram. And like,
Well,
it's just a wild time, and it's so fun when like, okay, one of you will DM me and I will be like, oh my gosh, hi, you're from Long Island. When I'm there, I'll visit you, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe tomorrow I'll see her on Instagram and I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. And then like 2 days later, I might get a call for Long Island, and then I'm sending her a referral to Long Island. I mean,
wow.
it's crazy and it's
Well,
not expensive.
I want to give folks a chance to get some of their questions answered, but and as a part of that, I've seen a lot of questions come through asking about what uh how you went about activating some of these technology projects and platforms. And Laura is here actually to talk about some of the options that Luxury Presence has in doing that. Laura, I want to hand the mic to you. Dawn's given us a great recap of the way that she uses her website, the way that she uses content, and the way that she uses her mobile app. I'm seeing a lot of requests for a little bit more information about that too. Could you give us just a rundown of what options folks have if they want to get into the same workflow that Dawn's been using?
Yeah, totally. So assuming that you guys have an understanding of what we do here at Luxury Presence, at least a little bit. We work with agents, teams, and full brokerages to help build out their online presence and to help take up more space online. So much of what Dawn has talked about is, what are my skills? Where am I starting from? And where do I want to go? Right? No one human being can come into the real estate world and be the face of their business, right? Be incredibly close with their clients and give them an amazing client experience, understand every piece of marketing, know how to design a website, know how to write blogs, know how to create an app. No one human being can do that and do everything well. So at some point, you have to, like what Dawn said, is from the beginning, I've been delegating. I knew I was good at this one thing. How do I hand off other things?
Mm.
And so when we have a conversation with a client, the question is always, what are your goals for your business? Obviously, you have to think about your budget, and what are you doing for marketing outside of it? Where are you starting and where do you want to go? So what we're doing is we're trying to take the digital side of that and build out that piece for you so that you can have more time to do what you're good at, right? If you are good at sitting in an open house and having an amazing conversation with someone, then you should be doing that and let us do the online part, right? If you are really good at um, you know, editing videos on Instagram, but you don't know how to get those videos out to people, you don't know how to run ads, then have us run your ads and let you do what you love to do, because there's no amount of energy that one person can spend. And if you're doing things that exhaust you, you're going to burn out really quickly. So the whole point of what we're trying to do is we're trying to take that work off of your plate so that you can actually focus on what you want. So in terms of what we do in functionality and pieces like that, Dawn has talked a lot about that she's been a website client of ours for since 2016, so 9 years. When we started with her, she was in a lot smaller team, smaller markets, her and two assistants. And now she's got almost 30 agents in 8 or 9 markets. I know you said those numbers before. And so her website that started as this, here's this thing that I built because Jade Mills told me to, which is basically how I live my life, is now this living, breathing, functioning space that she can send all of her clients, all of her referrals. And she let us take this piece of work off of her plate. So when we work with clients, with agents, teams, brokerages, the question is, what are you doing? What do you want to be doing? And what are you doing like for marketing outside of those things? So for us, the base product is, let's build you a really beautiful, functioning, breathing website with a home search tool, with lead capture, with a back-end dashboard. And then as we go up in our packages, it's adding different marketing services. Can we help build out your Google presence, right? What's happening when someone is looking you up? Do you have full control over the narrative of what people are seeing online, right? And then the question is, What if you were searching something like Chicago condos with lake views, right? Who's showing up here? Sponsored, sponsored, sponsored. How can we help push your website and your brand outside of your sphere by running ads? And then if you were to search something like, well, we'll use Jade as an example. If you search Beverly Hills real estate agent, right? These people are paying for ads, but you'll see that our client, Jade Mills, number one, is showing up organically as the most correct answer to that question. So the base product that we do is a website. And then as we go up in our packages, it's how much marketing work are we taking off of your plate to help kind of build your business. And then the big piece of all of this is how can we take everything that we've built online and make it a mobile first experience? As you guys know, and I know literally from meeting Dawn in person a few times, she does not own a computer. Everything that she does is on a cell phone, right? You can't even see it with my fake background, a cell phone, right? So she needed to take all of that work that she was doing with her in person, eye to eye contact, and everything that's happening online with us building her business and funnel all of that into a mobile first experience. And that's where the app comes in. So to wind all of that together, right? When we're working with clients, it's website, it's how are you showing up online? How are you advertising that presence online? And then how do we take all of that work and all of the stuff of bringing clients in and then give them an amazing experience of actually closing on their house? So my last little piece of information here, so thanks for letting me ramble on, is a big part of hosting these webinars with our clients and prospects and people that we're hoping to work with is how can we help you guys build your business? So if you haven't heard about our Presence Copilot app, this is what Dawn was saying. She came up with this idea, brought it to Malti, our CEO, and it has blossomed into this beautiful app. The Dawn McKenna Group app is live. I am a part of it, just searching for homes in Park City that I will not buy. And we want to give you guys the opportunity to help build your brand. So as part of this webinar, if you guys would like to sign up and meet our team and get to know if we're a good fit for your business, you can scan this QR code and book time with me or one of my colleagues. And because you met us on the webinar, the $5,000 setup fee for a white label app, AKA the Dawn McKenna Group app or the Pat Palumbo app or the, who else is on this call that I saw? The Mark Greiger app or Greiger Group app, right? That $5,000 setup fee is waived. So hopefully you guys have learned a lot from Dawn and her amazing story. Dawn, thank you so much. And if you guys want to meet with us, whether it be about websites or branding or the Copilot app itself, you can scan that QR code and book time with us.
Yeah, and Laura, just to clarify too, the
Mhm.
development fee is for someone who wants to get their own white labeled mobile app,
Mhm.
but we have lots of different options for folks if they are just in the
Mhm.
market for a website or anywhere
Mhm.
in between our base package, all the way up to everything that Luxury Presence offers. So there's plenty
Mhm.
of options for folks, no matter what your needs are. Is that right?
Exactly. Yep. And that's really going to be part of the conversation that we have with each client that books time with us is coming back to that question. What do you have right now? How can we help take some of that work off of your plate? So it's really going to be digging into what are you doing online? What are you looking for? And is there a way that we can step in and help?
Amazing. Amazing.
Mhm.
Would you mind throwing the last slide of
Yes.
that deck up? Folks, if you are interested, you can scan this QR code. We can get you on the calendar. No obligation here. We just want to find out what we can do to solve for problems that you've got. Um, and to answer a couple of quick questions while we've just got this up, yes, we're going to have the recording of this is going to go out to everybody who signed up for the webinar here. So you will get a copy of this. Seeing a ton of requests in here for uh, a listing presentation. Dawn, if you have a listing presentation or an example of the sort of listing presentations or client communications that you use, we'll connect with you, Dawn, afterwards to see if there's something that you have that you can share with folks. Um, and then I also wanted to uh, just surface a question that I'm seeing more than once in the Q&A that I think is a pretty an interesting one to ask someone who doesn't actually own her own computer, but I know has an opinion on this. Dawn, uh, AI is kind of kicking down the door of a lot of industries, including real estate. Any thoughts on how you or your team use AI as part of your operations, part of your client experience? Any high level thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, you guys, AI like can help you. You can put you can tap into AI and say, stage this house for me, and they'll stage it. Like some of it's not like at the level, depending upon what your market is, but it's just it's another lever. It's another thing you can use. But I will tell you that like the app part is actually like from a learning standpoint, like more exact. The other thing is like AI is just to kind of help you be more efficient. So like, you could tap it in right now and say, hey, what's the most expensive house to sell in this area within the last 30 days? And it probably will come up. I just don't want to be all those prompts. I want a one-stop shop. That's why I like the app, but the Copilot app. But the other thing is we need, especially with the new NAR rules and the buyer's broker forms, and we're all losing our minds on it. I mean, just to keep it like whether it was a one time only, whether it was a 6 months, whether it's 60 days, they're constantly evolving with us, and they're perfecting this where like you're getting a push notification, Benny Gillette and his wife thing expired. And then you're like, oh God, okay, my assistant's got to get back out and get another expiration. This was created in large part to remember, it's not just for you. We need something sticky for these buyers and sellers to stay with you. That's why I did the app too, because you put the buyer on, hey, we have an app. There's private markets. There's all kinds of different things. Like even after they buy, like what are the top paint colors? Like what is the next trend? Is there, a Crate and Barrel or CB2 outlet nearby? When's this cool sale going on? Like local events, like if I'm doing my job right, these people are looking at everything I have. Hey, there's a new dermatologist in town for you teenagers, whatever. It's on this app. So they keep hitting it even after they've purchased. You can't do that with AI, you guys. So AI is another tool. Like, am I worried that AI is going to take over the Dawn McKenna Group? Hell no, no way. Because guess what? Just because this house just sold for $14 million and it sold the year before for 23 million, guess what? The back faces north. The pool doesn't get sun. The house that was in COVID. Like I could go on and on with like why it doesn't say that in AI. It doesn't say that other than it because of market knowledge. So I'm happy to get my director of operations, which I have to tell you a lot. I see this question coming up a lot. You asked me, when we were on a couple weeks ago, like what were the like mistakes I've made? I made 100,000 mistakes, you guys. But I would say the biggest one is like I had my cell phone on my sign and everywhere like 3 years ago. I let go and let like my director of operations lead me, or my director of sales lead me, or my director of marketing lead me. You need to let go and realize when you want to scale and when you want to be like you have a big team. Like, do you want to be in accounting? Do you want to be in, bills paid? Do you want to do you want to do marketing and all the things? Or do you want to like lean into somebody that actually knows more than you do? I think that I would say that's the greatest. I've been really good at delegating, but as we started growing, I was like, wait, I don't know, wait. And I think it was the single most freeing thing. And I think that was another reason why I did the app, is so that I could put all the things in there that I learned through them as well, in
Mm.
terms of like, I wouldn't have known how, my operations person thinks of this and how that scaled or didn't scale unless I just did it. So I think you got to really think about this. And that was the whole point of Copilot. Like I
Mm.
called it Pocket, by the way, which was like in my pocket. I always want to feel like I had everything in my pocket so that I was the source for all things real estate. Remember too, sorry, is there with the website, this is not just for your brand. Like all my clients like it. They see it. They see that you're you're interested in your business and their business. That's why you're investing in this. We had like 100-point, like a twofold that we give to every single client at listing that explains like why our practice is this fee. And we haven't had any pushback. So there's so much I can tell you, and I'll tell you in the next, call me, and I'm happy to share whatever I can with you, but it's all about evolution. And it's all about, if you're branding yourself with using these tools, your seller, it's better for your seller or better for your buyer.
Unbelievable advice. With that, folks, we have reached the mark. I know that there's a lot of business happening. It's Thursday. It's coming up on springtime. Real estate is getting busy. Dawn's got events at properties today. I bet you a lot of you do too. I want to wish you a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining us on this Luxury Presence panel. We will follow up with a recording so that you can have access to all this fantastic advice. And if you'd like to book a demo with Luxury Presence to hear how we can help you solve your real estate puzzles and help you build the business of your dreams, please scan this QR code. I'm also going to drop the link in the chat again if you just want to click and sign up there. And we'll see you on the next Luxury Presence panel. Dawn, thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.